to me, that fire that I felt was kind of going out is like so alive on set. I mean, you think a lot about the result. Like when the movie comes out, will it be a hit? What will people think of my performance? Or what? But after you've been doing it for a while, like I have, you start to think like, am I gonna have fun on set that day?
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Topher Grace is an actor. He sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Can you take me through a typical way that you prepare for a role with the script?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a moment where that changed for me. I was never someone who like forgot their lines a lot or wasn't prepared, but I did a play here in New York. I'd never done a play. I had a weird thing where I got into, someone saw me in a high school play. 70 Show was essentially my first audition, right? So I've done that and movies, and there's like a week of rehearsal for 70 Show or a sitcom like that. There's zero rehearsal for most films. And then I did a play where we had like a month of rehearsal. And the product was so different for me afterwards. Plus, you're doing it every night, so you know it's another take on it. That now, I hire someone to come to my house, and because look, I don't know how many people know about this outside of film sets, but just people not knowing their lines is like a disease in Hollywood. You know, you're on like take 5, and they're kind of getting it for the first time.
Oh God!
I want to be great on take 1, and then take 5 be doing something else. You know, if you get 5 takes. So I forget what year it was I did the play. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 years ago. But from that point on, I pay this dude to come to my house. And first we're running lines. And then after a while, this is like a month or two before the thing starts, we're running it like a play. But I'm usually ready now on day 1 to do any scene in the film. By the way, there are these actors who will wear earpieces.
What?
Yeah, I kind of, so someone's feeding them the lines from their trailer or something. I kind of, I get it. They all have reasons, because, you can see they're wearing one where they say, some say, I like having music pumped into my ear so I can feel the scene. And some will say, I like hearing the lines for the first time because in real life, you don't know it's the first time you've ever said the lines, so I like that look of fear to be behind my eyes. Can you swear on this podcast?
Yes.
Okay, I think it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Because people just hate rehearsing. It sucks. But now that's who I am. When I get a film, I know it's going to be this chunk of work. The first day isn't the first day I start filming.
Right. And you're off book for the movie.
As I'm realizing it, I think I'm starting off your show sounding really like goody two-shoes. But it's more about my level of anger I have for people when they are on this film set. All the work they got to make that, you just be there on the set, right? So all that work on the script and all the work to get the cast and the money, and then someone shows up and goes like, wait, what's my line?
Tell me, just specifically craft-wise, what was the benefits to being on a sitcom for 8 years?
It was the greatest thing ever. I hate when I hear a young person who's on a TV show, who I get probably wants to be doing, badass films, complain about it. Especially a sitcom, because a sitcom is everything. It's got live interaction from the audience, which is invaluable. Like I still feel when I'm doing movies that I can hear that audience because I did it for so long. So I kind of know when the people in the theater might laugh, 6 months later when the film comes out. It's got a filmic quality to it because it's being shot on film. You'll kind of maybe pre-shoot some stuff. And it's got a great kind of boot camp mentality, which is like, you're not good all the time. And you get right back up on the horse, come back in the next week, and try again until you kind of are good. And I can tell you, it's sad, a lot of them are still in syndication, but I can tell you there were some ones I was really bad in at the beginning, and I'd kind of see them and go, I don't want to do that again, and it's a batting average. That's what's so great about a show like that. So to me, I and I think everyone else on 70s would agree with this. There wasn't anyone who was lame about it on our show, where we all knew this is wonderful. I mean, it's like, also not a lot of people had ever acted before that were the kids on that show. So we loved learning, and then you'd have the summer off to go do a movie. You'd come back to a safe place, apply it, learn some more, leave. And, what I was doing at that time, like my first movie was Traffic, was I was doing stuff that was so different than the show. I actually wanted that home base because, it was great when the movie came out, Traffic, but when you're playing a meth head, you want to, I don't know, you want some assurance that you'll work again, or you won't be playing a meth head until you're,
right.
I guess too old to play a meth head.
Right.
Whatever that is.
Right. And having to be forced to do comedy that much, did that make you want to run away from comedy?
No. I think we're at a weird place with comedies right now, period, in terms of like, in Hollywood. It's just kind of interesting. Like, they're kind of anti-comedies or anti-romantic comedies, but and there are certainly a couple comedies I've loved watching, but I understand that sometimes when someone who's in comedy wants to do serious stuff. What I was always personally attracted to, and it happened in Traffic, and it's my favorite thing along the way, it's true of Blackkklansman, is I love kind of playing a funny character in a deadly serious movie. Because it's kind of best of both worlds, and all my favorite films are, they have a lot of dimensions like that. So like, I was just watching Terms of Endearment the other day. Okay, that movie is like a slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
Like if you watch just the first half of that movie, you'd go, why is this up for all these Oscars? Yeah. I mean, it's so well made, but it's such a comedy, until it's not.
Right.
And I think humor is so seductive, especially, in playing David Duke. You go, how do you find anything good about the guy? I mean, I couldn't. But what I could do is use humor as a way to get the audience to lean in a little bit before you kind of sucker punch them, And the same thing was true. A lot of things I've done. I love kind of mixing. By the way, I love doing drama on 70s Show. It's my favorite thing to do.
I had Ann Dowd on, she plays Aunt Lydia on the Handmaid's Tale.
She's amazing.
She said that she loves Aunt Lydia. And I was trying to figure that out. And then she said, it's a love affair I have with her. And I was trying to think about that in terms of you with David Duke. I mean, I don't know how that could be possible, but just tell me if that's true. Do you have to love the character you're playing?
I've played bad guys once or twice before. It's not something I'm so good at, but I have heard actors say that. I understand trying to find something that if you're playing it from their point of view, you see their point. I did so much research on David. I read his autobiography, My Awakening, which, by the way, tough to even get your hands on, but and really tough to go to a bookstore and ask for. But it's kind of a thinly veiled Mein Kampf. It's just his beliefs about everything. I watched him on Donahue a lot because he was on Donahue. I watched a lot of filmed interviews of him in the 70s, and I listened to his radio show, even though that's more present day. The voice is kind of ageless. So, and I do a lot of these radio programs of him in the movie. I couldn't find one thing. I don't know if it's because he's not a fictional character, so it was really hard. I just had a daughter, and living in Trump's America, and understanding the effect that David, and the more you research him, like on Donahue, he says, "Make America Great Again." He says, "America first." Those terms he uses a lot. So it was all so overwhelmingly negative. I couldn't. My performance in this one is just a pure, I hate the man, I hate what he stands for. And I'll tell you something about The Handmaid's Tale, though, is I heard that Elizabeth Moss, who I've worked with before, and I think this is brilliant, I think she's brilliant, is that she memorizes all those, it's kind of what I was talking about, rehearsing stuff before. She memorizes all of her internal dialogue on the show.
Wow.
Because if you think about it, normally when you record that, it's after
Right.
you record it in ADR later, and you're looking up at the screen and you're kind of reading.
Yeah.
And it's, it's just different when you're reading something that's on a paper, or
Yeah.
if you've truly taken the time to learn it and memorize it and you're spitting it back out.
Oh yeah.
So I always thought that was like
That's interesting.
genius. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to read a quote that you said. When you're playing someone who you believe is truly evil, it's really hard not to go there and kind of sink your teeth into it. I'm just lucky I've been acting for a while, because I'm not sure if 10 years ago I would have had that restraint. Tell me
Right.
what you mean by this.
I think, have you ever played ping pong?
Yes.
Where like you get one of those like lobs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
can just smash the
Yeah.
ball, and that's always when you miss the table.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
what I felt about this role. Is I
that's
thought, oh man,
interesting.
he's so evil.
Yeah.
There's such an awareness. When I told people in my family that I was playing David Duke, they already were like, everyone, it's so loaded, right? Very hard to not go for that. How many points have I lost in ping pong where I just smashed it and something happens and it doesn't hit and you go, oh my God, I thought I had that. So I really, there is a scene or two, you've seen it, no?
Yes.
That the scene where I finally kind of confront him.
Yeah.
I kind of let it out a little bit, but you really want to hold it back
Right.
to be the best kind of bad guy you can be.
Have it kind of brewing inside of you.
Yeah, or maybe not even have anyone see it at first, and then kind of reveal it. But yeah, it was tough even for me now on set, because you just drain everything out of every moment, but you can't.
I'm fascinated by what actors need from directors, and you've worked with really great directors, now Spike Lee among them. When you were given what you needed, talk to me about that, and talk to me also about when you weren't getting what you needed from a director, if you can, without naming names.
No, I'm definitely going to name names. I mean, this is my chance.
Yes.
Well, okay, so my first experience was with Steven Soderbergh. So amazing. I'd never done a film before. He comes from, the short answer is there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. And I just want someone who's good and has a vision. A lot of different ways they can communicate that and use me to communicate it. Steven was, he came from documentary filmmaking, and Traffic was being shot a little bit, not like a documentary, but he was using all available light, and it was all handheld. Like, he was holding the camera. He's like just such an amazing director. So I remember the first or second day, I never shot anything outdoors before, right? Because 70 Show was shot in the studio. So like, I mean, it was, and we were shooting in the ghetto in Cincinnati. I mean, it was a really intense first experience. And he was, I don't know, talking to someone about lighting, and I walked up to him and said, hey, because he hadn't said anything to me yet. Like, we'd done a couple scenes. I said, is there anything, what do you think? And this, should I walk up to the door here and say this? And he said, oh, I don't know. He walked away. And I thought, wow. I mean, years later, I realized, oh, what a genius. Like, yeah. he jump cuts whenever he wants within scenes, so he doesn't care. If he wants to do something, he pushes the camera away from his face for a second and says, no, walk over to the dresser, and he pops it back on. But he wanted to capture it because he came from that documentary place. Then I worked with him the next year in Ocean's 11 briefly, and that film was kind of being shot differently, stylistically, and I understood, oh, that was like what he was going for in that moment. And I would say I have worked with directors who do it completely differently than that. Paul Weitz was one of the great actor-director experiences I've ever had on In Good Company, and he liked doing a lot of takes and walking me through it. As I've gotten older, I thought maybe it's because he was trying to find something in me that I was very young, and I was playing someone who was very young. I was like Dennis Quaid's boss in that thing, but he's a little arrested in his development. So I was wondering if maybe he cast a younger guy and was trying to get a performance out of me, and I think he did, because I was so thrilled with what he cut together. But he did like a lot of takes, as did David Mashad, who did War Machine. He did a lot of takes, and it's great. I mean, I love War Machine. I think so. I don't think there's one way to do it. I do know that for the style that Steven was going for in Traffic, for instance, you can't shoot handheld and kind of off the cuff 1,000 takes in a row.
Mm-hmm.
The same way, I don't know if we could get to that. There's kind of a Dr. Strangelove comedy precision that's in War Machine that I don't think you can get to if you have one take. You need like a bunch of takes that David needed. So, look, all my bad experiences are when the director has no idea what they're doing. All the good experiences, like the ones I just named, Spike's very fast, said very little to me. We talked a lot in rehearsal about it, and then he had John David Washington in with me, and we were all talking about it. He's very open, but when we were shooting it, it was very few takes, and he's really sure of what he wants. But whatever it is what then the film is, in my experience. So like Spike, that felt like on set he was very sure of what he wanted. If he didn't talk to you, it's because he loved what you were doing. Moving on to the next thing, he was pushing the crew to go faster, and the film feels like that. It feels like a very sure hand is bringing you through this experience. So as long as someone has a vision, I don't care. I mean, yeah, if you're doing 2001 with Stanley Kubrick, yeah, I guess you are doing 1,000 takes in a row, and I guess it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And if you're doing, trying to think of the most verite thing, you know what I mean? Then it's right to do one take and move on.
Right.
So all I want is a vision, and to feel that vision.
And you could be malleable to their...
Oh, you have to. That's your job.
You have done a lot of work, and you're at this point in your career. When somebody wants you, though, to read for a role, are you ever like, bro, you know, cue up the... I mean, all my work's on your TV, but you explain that to me. Is that just the way it works with actors, even at a certain level?
Yes, it is awesome when you've moved past the level of having to audition for something, right? Auditioning is the worst. There are many jobs, I now realize, kind of entrepreneurial jobs that are like acting, where you have to go in and kind of sing for your supper, and, you know, there's all the, like, waiting for the call and seeing if you got it. And I was so happy to have moved past it. Then I really threw a wrench in it a couple of years ago. I said to my then agents, they are no longer my agents, that I didn't want to do stuff that was like the stuff I'd done. I said, I don't know, I guess I'd done Valentine's Day at the time, and it was like a huge hit, but I just thought, like, I'm not excited on the set. By the way, I love that movie and that experience, and, you know, Gary Marshall's a master of romantic comedies and stuff, but something about it wasn't as exciting. Didn't have that feeling I had when I was, you know, starting off. So I said, I just want to do stuff that isn't like anything I've done before. I want to do stuff where it's an auteur filmmaker and they really know what they want, kind of what I was describing to you. And that's the worst thing you can really say to agents in Hollywood is I want to, because the way they make money is you do the same thing over and over again. So if you're famous for doing, you know, I don't know, for playing James Bond, you know, that's how, you know, if you play James Bond again, you're going to make a ton of money doing it. So or if you're doing rom-coms all the time, whatever your go-to move is. So I just kind of stopped, and it was not really who I wanted to work with. It was more what I didn't want to do at that point. And the first thing I heard was that they were having people read for Chris Nolan for Interstellar. I said, I don't even care what Interstellar is about. I mean, I think I have an idea from that title, but and it sounds awesome. But I just want to work with him, and I think he's the greatest filmmaker alive today. So my agents were like, "You want to go read? Like, no one wants to go read." And I thought that'd be great just to meet Chris Nolan. And that dialogue was so weird because it was the sides I was given were all futuristic, and he's a doctor. And when it's not like something you've done before, and David Duke is just like that. I mean, when I told people I want to play David Duke, they went like, huh? When it's not like something you've done before, it's incumbent on you to show people. And I really think that's the downfall of, if there are actors you've liked that aren't working anymore, or they're not doing interesting stuff anymore, or the thing they used to do got stale, it's like, sadly, it's ego, because they don't want to, go in and have to tap dance. But I feel, my feeling is like, if you're going to do it on the day, you should be able to do it for the, and also
Right.
if I go in and read for Spike Lee, which I did for this film, and he doesn't think I'm good at playing David Duke, I should almost definitely not do the movie. Like,
Right.
so I get it if you're getting paid and you go, this is the thing I get paid for. Why am I doing it for free if I might not even get it? It feels negative, I guess, but I don't mind doing it at all. I got comfortable. I'll probably do it until I'm 90. Just like, because I'm never going to want to do the thing that I'm known for doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all terrible. Any actors who are listening, this is terrible brand identity advice. Yeah, this is actually the worst advice. I just had a moment where, because the show did so well, which wasn't because of me, but I just was so lucky to have been on a show, financially like that, that I thought, I'm a jerk if I keep playing the same thing over and over again to a lesser effect.
What do you want to do that people may not know you can do?
I just want to dance. I just want to dance.
A musical?
I gotta dance inside it. No, not a musical, like a full, just straight dance.
A dance film.
Yeah. Have you seen Flashdance?
Of course. Yeah.
Hello,
Okay,
they're casting all these
Wait,
guy movies with girls.
I was just gonna say, that's
Or
a
you cast
nice
one of these
flip on
girl
it.
movies
Nice
with
flip.
a guy.
Beautiful flip.
Think, guys, come on. What's funny, I just played a preacher in the movie I did after this. It's a movie with Chrissy Metz, who I love. It's great. And I just want to do whatever is 180 degrees opposite of the last thing. I mean, playing David Duke and then playing a preacher, he's a good preacher. It's like, it was such a different, to me, that fire that I felt was kind of going out is like so alive on set. I mean, you think a lot about the result. Like, when the movie comes out, will it be a hit? What will people think of my performance? Or what? But after you've been doing it for a while, like I have, you start to think like, am I going to have fun on set that day? I did this movie, Truth. It was with Cate Blanchett and Robert Redford. It didn't hit the right way. It should have been bigger, in my opinion, because I love the film. It was about Dan Rather and CBS and that whole. It was like doing a journalism movie with Robert Redford, and All the President's Men is my favorite film of all time. And that movie on set for me was like, I was just fully alive. Like, I don't want to sound too corny to your listeners, but like there's a scene where I melt down at CBS headquarters, and it was so good. And then when it was coming out, CBS wouldn't run any ads for it. And I thought, this is great. Like, I feel so, it's the same thing here with, will Trump see this thing? And, will he know that, we're taking these jabs at him? He's in the film, I love it. So I'm not obsessed with the result anymore. I want my experience to be really interesting. In answer to your question, there's no specific thing. It's really, what is a great filmmaker like Spike Lee or Chris Nolan or David Michaud or any of these guys? What are they doing? And then, can I find a place in there to ride their coattails?
I'm very excited about your career. I'm excited about this chapter. I really
Thanks,
am,
man.
And I'm excited to see where this goes. And
Dude, I should say I love your podcast. Really, I was saying this when you were setting up, but it bears repeating for your listeners. Like, when you go on a talk show, you gotta. I'm kind of dreading going on talk shows with this because the subject matter is so serious, and then you gotta like make a little like, were there any pranks on set, or But I love being able to sit and talk about. It's truly what I'm passionate about doing.
yes, I could feel it. Topher Grace, thank you.
Thank you for having
so
me.
much for this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, seriously.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of IFP, the Independent Filmmaker Project.